Welcome to Value Vest Daily. All right, today we are diving deep into one of the most talked about, maybe the most controversial company on the planet, Tesla. Now, you might think you know the story. Cool electric cars, right? But what if I told you that's just the tip of the iceberg? What if the real story, the one that could change everything, is about something much, much bigger? We're going to look past the sheet metal and into the colossal AI opportunity that's hiding in plain sight.
You know, to really get a handle on the Tesla thesis, you first have to understand the absolutely insane moment in history we're living through. And this quote, wow, it just nails it. 100 years of change crammed into the next 10. Think about that. This isn't just another tech cycle, folks. It's a full-blown tidal wave. It's a complete rewiring of our world, and it is coming at us way faster than most people are ready for. So that brings us to the real heart of the matter, the question we're really trying to answer today. Is Tesla just a car company? Or is it doing something completely different? Is it creating an entirely new category of value, literally out of thin air? That's the trillion-dollar question. Let's dig in and find out. Okay, first up, the AI tsunami. Because look, to really get the Tesla story, you first have to appreciate the scale of this opportunity. We're talking about an ocean of change, and it is absolutely massive. So just to put this into perspective, check this out. One single company, NVIDIA, is now worth a staggering 4% of the entire planet's GDP. I mean, that's bigger than the entire economies of Germany or the UK. But here's the kicker, the really crucial point. NVIDIA is just selling the picks and shovels for the big AI gold rush. That's right. The actual gold, the real mind-blowing value, it hasn't even been mined yet. See, the digital world is just the beginning. So here's the big what if. What if NVIDIA is the king of digital AI, but Tesla becomes the king of physical AI? If that plays out, oh man, the gains we've seen so far could look like a tiny little appetizer. All right, let's talk about how they're planning to do it. We're going to deconstruct Tesla's competitive moat, their AI fortress. And seriously, you have got to get the idea that this is just a car company out of your head. That's like looking at Amazon back in 1999 and saying, oh, it's just an online bookstore. The real play is the fortress they're building. So what in the world is physical AI? Well, it's pretty simple, actually. It's when artificial intelligence leaps out of the computer screen and into the real physical world. We're not talking about an AI that can write you a nice poem. We're talking about software that can actually drive a car, operate a robot in a factory, do stuff. And this is exactly where Tesla is digging its moat. So how are they building this thing? Well, it all comes down to three massive pillars. Pillar one, the data advantage. And this is it's unbelievable. Millions of cars driving billions of real-world miles. Nobody else is even playing in the same league, let alone the same universe. Pillar two, custom hardware. They design their own chips, like the upcoming AI5 chip. And pillar three, vertical integration. They control everything, from the factory floor all the way up to the lines of code. And when you put this all together, wow, it creates this massive competitive advantage. I mean, look at the difference compared to a competitor like Waymo. Waymo is amazing tech, for sure, but it's stuck in a few specific cities, it has to rely on partners, and it uses super expensive third-party chips. Tesla, on the other hand, is built for global scale from day one. And because they make their own hardware, every single AI decision is estimated to be 10 times cheaper. 10 times! Over billions and billions of decisions, that is an absolute game changer. Okay, a big world-changing vision is great, but talk is cheap, right? Where's the proof? Let's look at how this whole strategy is actually turning into real, tangible products that you can see and touch right now. Let's start with full self-driving, or FSD. The scale of the data they're collecting is just staggering. Get this. In its first month in South Korea, the fleet drove over 1 million kilometers. To put that in perspective, that's like driving around the entire country almost 500 times. That's the data machine, just humming along, learning and getting smarter with every single mile. And you know what? The progress is really starting to turn heads. I mean, the director of robotics at NVIDIA, that NVIDIA, a company that knows a thing or two about AI, called the latest version magical. He said it passes the physical Turing test, which is a fancy way of saying it's becoming almost impossible to tell it's not a human driving. I mean, coming from him, that is an absolutely incredible endorsement. And then there's Optimus. And no, this is not science fiction anymore, people. This thing is real. It's got these incredibly dexterous new hands, its brain is powered by the same Grok AI, and most importantly, it's being designed for mass production. This isn't about a cool demo video. This is about solving real-world labor shortages and totally transforming entire industries. So what's the secret sauce powering all this? It's the hardware. The new AI5 chip is, well, it's a quantum leap. We're talking 40 times faster, 10 times cheaper for every decision the AI makes, and 3 times more power efficient. By designing their own silicon, their own chips, Tesla basically controls its own destiny, and that gives them a huge, huge advantage in both cost and performance.
Okay, the tech is seriously impressive, no doubt about it. But does the math work? Let's follow the money and see if the fundamentals actually back up this grand vision.
So, who's actually buying into this story? Is it just a bunch of hype? Well, not exactly. A full 2/3 of the company, 66%, is owned by institutions. We're talking about the so-called smart money here, thousands of different funds, pension plans, banks. That is a massive vote of confidence from some of the biggest investors on the planet.
And you know what that confidence leads to? Cash. Lots and lots of cash. In just one recent quarter, Tesla generated nearly $4 billion in free cash flow. Now, that's the money they have left over after paying all the bills. That means they can fund all these crazy ambitious AI projects themselves without having to borrow a dime. But here's the number. The one number that really gets Wall Street excited. For a second, just forget about how many cars they sold last quarter. The real story is the software. We're talking about a projected 60% compound annual growth rate, meaning growing 60% year over year for their high-margin software subscriptions. That kind of recurring revenue is pure rocket fuel for their profit.
All right, so the story is compelling. The fundamentals are looking strong. But where could the stock actually go? Let's talk about the big one, the trillion-dollar question. We'll look at price targets, the risks, and try to bring it all home.
Okay, in the short term, a lot of the bulls on Wall Street are looking at a price target of around $600 a share. Continued improvements in FSD, maybe some good news from regulators. That could easily be what pushes it there.
But that's just the near term. Let's zoom out a bit. Because this is where things get, well, really interesting. ARK Invest, for example, has a 5-year price target of $3,000 a share. And you're probably asking, how on earth do you get to that number? Well, it's almost entirely based on the idea of a global robo-taxi network, a business that, doesn't even really exist yet. But if it does, it could be an absolute money-printing machine. And if you thought that was wild, you might want to sit down for this one. The real long-term visionaries, the people looking out to 2030 and beyond, they're modeling prices north of $1,800. Now, let's be clear. This is the everything goes absolutely perfectly scenario. This assumes they totally dominate robotaxis and the market for humanoid robots. It's a mind-boggling number, but it shows you the theoretical endgame if this whole physical AI thesis actually works. Okay, time for a reality check. Let's land the plane here. No investment is a sure thing, and you have got to look at this with your eyes wide open. The risks here are very, very real. The stock's valuation is already pricing in a huge amount of future success. The competition in the EV space is getting fierce. And believe me, getting regulators to sign off on fleets of robotaxis and robots is not going to be a walk in the park. This is the absolute definition of a high-risk, high-reward investment. And of course, here's our mandatory disclaimer. This is all for informational and educational purposes only. It is absolutely not financial advice. You have to do your own research. Please, please, please do your own homework. So, I'll leave you with the same question we started with. Is this just another car company fighting for market share, or is Tesla on the verge of creating an entirely new category of value, literally out of thin air? How you answer that question could determine whether this is one of the greatest investment opportunities of our lifetime. Hey, if you found this valuable, please make sure you subscribe, like, and share ValueVest Daily. We're here to help you learn about these kinds of opportunities before you put your hard-earned money to work. Oh, and one more thing. Drop a comment below with any ticker symbol you want us to do a deep dive on next. Seriously, we read every single one. Thanks so much for joining us.